Welcome to Hot Drama TV.
When fiction ignites curiosity, the untold story behind The Prisoner of Beauty and its most talked about pairing. In the vast ocean of Chinese costume dramas, very few titles manage to rise above the noise and stay there. The Prisoner of Beauty did exactly that. When it premiered in May 2025, it didn't just enter the conversation, it dominated it. Episode by episode, the drama pulled viewers into a world of restrained emotions, political tension, and forbidden longing. But as the story on screen grew more intense, another story quietly began unfolding off-screen. A story about two people. A story about curiosity. A story about how fiction can blur into fascination. The moment a drama becomes a phenomenon. Every viral drama has a turning point, the moment when viewers stop watching passively and start obsessing. For The Prisoner of Beauty, that moment arrived when audiences realized the chemistry between Zuer and Lu Yuning wasn't something you could easily explain. It felt natural. Too natural. Social media lit up with edits, theories, side-by-side interviews, and freeze frames dissected down to the smallest glance. Soon fans weren't just asking, what happens next in the drama? They were asking, who are these two people really? Zuer, the young face with an old soul. At first glance, Zuer seems like the embodiment of youth. Born in 1998, she is only 27 years old. Yet her eyes carry a quiet depth that feels far older. That's because her journey in the entertainment industry began long before most people even discover their dreams. She debuted in 2005 at just 7 years old. While many actors her age are still finding their footing, Zuer grew up under studio lights and camera lenses. Childhood roles shaped her discipline, and years of silence away from the spotlight taught her patience. By the time she stepped into the role of Xiao Qiao, she wasn't just acting. She was inhabiting the character. Fans often describe her as lively off-screen, someone with quick wit and expressive energy. As a Gemini with an ENTP personality type, she represents curiosity, adaptability, and emotional intelligence. Blood type A, often associated in East Asian culture with sensitivity and responsibility, adds another layer to how fans interpret her on-screen restraint. But perhaps the most intriguing thing about Zuer isn't what is known, it's what isn't. Despite years in the public eye, there have been no confirmed reports of her being romantically linked to anyone. In an industry fueled by speculation, her privacy has become part of her mystique. Lu Yuning, the late bloomer who refused to be rushed. If Zuer's story is one of early beginnings, Lu Yuning's is a story of delayed arrival and quiet persistence. Born in 1990, Lu Yuning is 8 years older than his co-star. Yet his acting debut didn't come until 2018. Before that, he walked a very different road, building recognition step by step, often far from the glamorous center of the industry. That contrast, older in age, later in acting, creates a narrative fans find endlessly fascinating. A Capricorn by birth, Lu Yuning is often associated with discipline, endurance, and ambition. His ESTJ personality type suggests structure and leadership, while blood type AB adds an aura of complexity and unpredictability. Together, these labels form a portrait of a man who appears calm on the surface, but layered beneath. His personal life has also been openly discussed. Lu Yuning was previously married in 2012 and divorced in 2013. A chapter of his life that ended quietly but continues to be referenced whenever his name trends. To some fans it adds realism, to others it adds vulnerability, and to many it adds contrast. Opposites, timelines, and the spark of imagination. This is where curiosity turns into narrative. A woman who debuted as a child, yet remains romantically elusive. A man who arrived late to acting, carrying the weight of lived experience. Different ages, different paths, different rhythms of life. Yet on screen they move in sync. The drama never explicitly asks viewers to blur fiction with reality, but human imagination does that naturally. Zodiac signs become compatibility charts. Personality types turn into emotional maps. Age gaps transform into storytelling fuel. And suddenly the question isn't, are they similar? It becomes, why do they fit so well? Why audiences can't look away. The true power of The Prisoner of Beauty isn't just its script or cinematography. It's how it creates space for projection. Viewers see fragments of themselves in Xiao Qiao's restraint, in the male lead's quiet resolve, and then they look at the actors behind those roles, wondering where performance ends and personality begins. That curiosity is irresistible. It's why articles listing interesting facts spread so quickly. Not because the facts themselves are shocking, but because they invite audiences to connect the dots. And sometimes the spaces between the dots are more compelling than the answers. The story beyond the screen. At its core, this isn't a story about gossip. It's a story about timing, contrast, and the strange alchemy that happens when two different journeys intersect at the perfect moment. Song Zuer and Lu Yuning didn't just star in a trending drama. They became symbols of something deeper. How different life paths can converge to create something unforgettable. And as long as The Prisoner of Beauty continues to live in the hearts of its viewers, the curiosity surrounding its stars will remain. Quietly, persistently, beautifully unresolved. Because sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones that never confirm anything at all. When curiosity turns into echoes. As weeks passed after the drama's release, something subtle happened. Discussions about plot twists slowly gave way to conversations about moments. A pause before a line, a glance held half a second longer than scripted, a breath taken as if the character forgot the camera was there. Viewers began replaying scenes not to follow the story, but to feel it again. And in that space, curiosity deepened. Fans noticed how their performances never tried to overpower one another. When she softened, he restrained. When he advanced, she held her ground. It was a balance that couldn't be forced, and audiences sensed that instinctively. The more people tried to analyze it, the more elusive the answer became. Was it acting maturity? Was it lived experience? Or was it simply two people meeting the same story from opposite ends of time? The silence that speaks loudest. In an industry where rumors move faster than truth, what stood out most was not what they said, but what they didn't. No dramatic interviews. No ambiguous smiles aimed at speculation. No deliberate fan service to keep the conversation burning. Their restraint created a vacuum, and into that vacuum poured imagination. Every quiet gesture became meaningful. Every ordinary interaction gained weight. Fans projected theories not because they were encouraged to, but because the absence of confirmation made the story feel endless. Silence, it turned out, was the most powerful narrative tool of all. Two paths, one moment in time. One came from a childhood shaped by scripts and sets, learning early how to protect her inner world. The other arrived after years of detours, carrying the patience of someone who knows success can't be rushed. They didn't mirror each other. They didn't need to. Their convergence felt like a reminder that timing matters more than symmetry, that careers, like lives, don't follow the same clock, and yet can still intersect with precision. That's why their pairing resonates beyond the screen. It reflects a truth many viewers recognize in their own lives. We don't all start at the same place, but we can still arrive at something meaningful together. Why this story lingers. Long after the final episode ends, The Prisoner of Beauty leaves behind more than a completed narrative. It leaves a question mark, gentle, unresolved, and quietly compelling. Not are they something more? But why did this feel real? That question keeps viewers returning. It keeps edits circulating. It keeps articles being written and rewritten, each one chasing the same ungraspable feeling. And perhaps that is the greatest success of all. The beauty of an unfinished ending. Some stories are powerful because they conclude clearly. Others endure because they don't. This one belongs to the latter. As audiences, we may never know where performance ends and personal truth begins. And maybe that's the point. In a world obsessed with answers, this pairing offers something rarer. A shared moment that exists only in memory, emotion, and imagination. And so the story continues, not on screen, but in the quiet space where viewers replay scenes, draw connections, and hold on to the beauty of not knowing. Because sometimes the most unforgettable stories are the ones that refuse to be explained.